She's tripping, I'm stripping.
So
you guys are bringing the party, right?
Yeah.
It was all that MDMA we took. Oh, we're on camera.
That's season 3. No spoilers.
No, because we've got Jack Parsons, and there's a very hallucinogenic sequence in Jack Parsons.
Yeah.
So
Lots of drugs. Lots of sex, drugs, and rock and roll.
no,
this
sex,
season.
drugs, and rocket science.
Oh, right,
Come
sorry.
on, Sean.
Rocket ships.
Going into
Go ahead. No,
going into season 2 from season 1, was there anything Amazon came to you and were like, listen, we love the whole Irish changing thing. Let's maybe not brutally murder, the pretty redhead on screen again. Was there any kind of blowback from season 1 that they were like?
When you see this season, you'll see that most certainly was not.
They went the other way with that.
Oh, really? Okay,
yeah.
great.
They said more brutal murders of redheads.
Nice.
So that's why we brought Alicia Witt in.
Was there a challenge in coming into season 2 with being a new showrunner and having, what changed and what didn't change necessarily with that?
It was, I guess I wouldn't say challenge. It was fun. It was really exciting to come in and be able for them to say, you know what, Sean, go ahead and take season 2 and make it more of a Twilight Zone, more of a Black Mirror type show where we can tell a very simple character story, but on an epic scale with more money, more production value. That's a really exciting box to play in, especially for someone who loves horror, and to be able to have that, sort of the handcuffs taken off.
How do you approach, seeing when you brought up the Irish story, these stories that are horrific, in their historical accuracy, and make that sort of not over the top or palatable to fans, like the
I
eyes.
think if you watch the news right now, some of the things that we're seeing in the news that are happening right now, I think in the future people will wonder, how did that happen, and how is it that so many people turned away and did nothing? So I think that we're looking back on something that happened at a particular time, and once again, a lot of the victims working here were prostitutes, were people who were on the margins of societies, and I'm not quite sure that we've changed all that much.
I think horror, we're lucky. Right.
They like that answer.
In horror, we're lucky that we can sort of go deeper because we're hiding it behind genre. So we can talk about immigration in a lot of this. We talk about family, we talk about soulmates, we talk about all sorts of different things, but a lot of what we're hitting on is what's happening today, but we're hiding it behind, brutal murders.
I know this is Walking Dead related, but when did you first get word of Andrew leaving TV?
And Andy talked about it for a while, because if you follow, he hasn't done anything else in 9 years. It's the only thing that he's done, except the promos for the Red Nose fundraising.
Right.
And it took him away from his family for 9 months of the year. So this is something that I think, he probably wanted to leave earlier and just couldn't bring himself to do it.
Is there any chance he might end up in a
can't
British
talk about,
episode?
No. British episode of Lore?
Lore, yes.
Oh my God.
Right?
From your lips to Andy's ears.
Yes. We would love that.
Yes,
now that he's available?
Yeah. I mean, that's the thing, is that the opportunity when you have an anthology and you're shooting for 5 to 6 days is you get to work with a Thomas Kretschmann or Jürgen Prochnow or Doug Bradley and this amazing cast that we have. Because the commitment is not 7 years of your life.
Right.
Would you say it's more of a challenge taking Aaron's podcast episodes and turning them to like a visual episode, or doing a news story and breaking that?
They were both equally difficult. In a good way, though. Again, trying to say, okay, Aaron has 400 years of information in this. How do we tell a story that's only 12 hours of this, like this girl's last 12 hours of her life? How do we tell that story and make it visually exciting? Or in the new ones, I guess maybe there's more freedom in the new stories because we weren't tied to it. But I like being tied to his podcast too. It gave us that basic building blocks to put our story on top of.
And then and then the challenge, of course, is that since it's an anthology and it's difficult to produce, when you see the episode Prague Clock, we thought that would be the one easy one because we were shooting in Prague and there is a clock, an astronomical clock, that once we're over there, because we were told, oh yeah, you can shoot there, no problem. It's under construction, no access. Our art department had to build the club,
Right.
and it's 4 stories high.
There are 6 episodes. 5 of them are shot on location in Prague, including an episode
I'm
in
from
Pasadena.
Pasadena, so-
Yeah, that's what I'm pointing. Including Gale
So
Anne
I
Hurd.
was the Pasadena expert on finding
Yeah.
a location outside Prague that could look somewhat like
And it
Pasadena.
worked.
Yeah.
But our Prague episode was shot on the stages.
That's funny though.
We expect a story with zombies or
You know, we've talked about that, and I would love to do that. I mean, the first season we explored werewolves. This season we have witches. We had vampires last season, and so there's still zombies to explore.
Oh, for sure. I mean, if we shoot in, say, New Orleans or in Mexico, I think a lot more of the folklore of that time, especially New Orleans, has that zombie folklore that's real. Because remember, every story is real, so we have to find the real zombies. But there are real zombies.
Following up on that, have there been any stories from the show that you wanted to adapt that you decided to table because they were either too logistically complicated or maybe too
So
gruesome or
many.
disturbing?
So many of them. Because, I mean, you start with like 12 and you winnow it down to 6.
Right.
So already there are, only half as many as we were passionate about telling from the very beginning.
Like we wanted to tell, we talked about doing the story of the Pied Piper, and then looking at the history of that maybe it was the recruiter for the Children's Crusades. And it just became this epic story that I didn't think we could tell in a simplistic sort of 45-minute way that would be emotional.
Right.
So in that case, yes. But maybe we can. We might be able to figure out this year.
We're going to be out of time.
Okay, and
Thank you so much.
thank you so much. Really appreciate it. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.